Today is April 4th, 2025, and that can only mean one thing. It's the anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which you forgot, but instead you're excited for a Minecraft movie starring Jack Black as a whitewashed version of Steve. Not a great look. The Minecraft movie comes out today, and I'm quite honestly at a loss at how to introduce this topic to you. Because if you haven't seen every line from this movie 30 times consecutive, gradually sped up every time, I'm pretty sure you don't know about the internet. And you know what? Probably don't use it at this point if you made it this far. Assuming you know about this movie, you'll understand why I am so excited for it. Not because I think it'll be particularly good, but because I expect it to be genuinely ridiculous just judging by the trailers.
This is a crack the nether Chicken Jockey.
And there have come from these trailers a lot of ragging on the dialogue of the movie and various predictions on what will happen in the film itself. People seem to expect this movie to be campy and tropey and therefore very predictable. And tonight, I will be watching this movie with my own set of predictions. You see, my buddy Clayton and I have devised a bingo card for this movie, a game much like what your grandmother plays at the nursing home. She remembers April 4th, by the way. Fondly, I might add. Yikes. Runs in the family, huh? On this bingo card, we placed our expectations for the movie. Be they either story tropes, film tropes, or dialogue tropes. And whoever loses this bingo game has to buy the other the Minecraft meal from McDonald's. We heard that was a thing. But without further ado, let's take a look at our bingo cards. Alright, welcome to our Minecraft bingo card making session. Whoever wins this bingo gets bought food by the other guy.
And specifically the Minecraft Happy Meal.
Yes, and if we don't get it, and neither of us gets it, this guy gets it.
Yeah.
We'll kill him.
Yeah.
The first one on our list is popular song montage. This is not just a popular song being in the movie, it has to be an actual montage.
My money is on AC/DC or Guns N' Roses.
Next one up, he's right behind me, isn't he? Steve Dies is on the list, emphasis on the air quotes because we don't know if he actually will, but it's definitely gonna be a fake out if it happens. It's quiet, too quiet, as a quote. I have a bad feeling about this. Our free space is going to be Jack Black, the musical.
Like Kid Rock, but better.
Yeah, he's gonna sing, so I feel like it's guaranteed. Alex being teased at some point, not like she's being teased, but like they tease that she's there. Someone gets attached to a mob and it dies. I feel like this is a trope in a lot of kids fiction and in a lot of Minecraft fiction for some reason, so I feel like it's pretty guaranteed.
He killed my dog.
A speed round for some quotes. We have, "It's gonna blow," "You better come look at this," "Nobody move," "That was awesome," and "blockhead" or some other cube-based joke of some kind as an insult. Okay.
Minecraft.
Yeah, because Minecraft is about squares and stuff. We also have some joke about "on your left, no, your other left," or something along those lines. "I got it, I don't got it," "We should split up," "Is that all you got?" and "That's gotta hurt." We also have creator referenced, as in like a Minecraft content creator. This is excluding Technoblade because we got a spoiler early on that he is referenced, so anyone besides him. We also have cute mob fake out, that meaning like there's a mob, somebody thinks it's nice and cute, not gonna hurt him, and then it scares him and spooks him and almost hurts him. We also have Herobrine reference. We also have queer baiting. Why did you write that in pink?
Chicken Jockey.
Also, I think we're gonna have some extended joke about Jack Black being... Some idiot looks at an Enderman. I'm sure there's gonna be an extended bit about that. I also think Steve is going to get a chance to leave Minecraft, but he will ultimately choose to stay there. Here we have Jack Black singing the credit song. I think this is almost a given, but there's a chance maybe he won't. We also have minecart chase. Some Gen Z or Gen Alpha slang is gonna be thrown in here, probably poorly, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. I forgot to mention this, but we also had Deus Ex Machina as one of the bingo squares. And that's where someone is going to unexpectedly swoop in at the last minute and save the day. Specifically in like the climax of the movie. And I think that's it for all of our bingo squares, so we'll see how this goes. We may be entirely wrong. Clayton and I had our whole day planned around watching this movie. We went out and got the necessary merchandise for watching it. We got a poppy cube of creeper juice. We got these Minecraft pants. We went home to get sweatpants to wear under these pants because they were entirely too thin and I didn't want anybody looking at my butter balls. Also, the boots just didn't work with them, so I almost bought this Lego set. I did buy this guy. he was $10, which seems expensive, but to be fair, it probably costs a lot more to make a toy that speaks to you.
Chicken Jockey!
Yeah, that's your thing, isn't it?
Flint and steel!
Yep.
The nether!
Yeah, man, I get it. I get it. I'm sorry. I love you. Expensive miniature Steve from a Minecraft movie portrayed by Jack Black. You know that, right?
This is a crafting table.
Okay. And after allocating all of these things, we were finally there.
Chicken Jockey,
The nether. Flint and steel!
Big old red ones.
release!
Now, walking into the theater, I was met with a sight to behold. I didn't want to film all the children in there, so I didn't, and I don't have footage of what I saw, but I have not seen such a mass of themed outfits since Barbenheimer. It was packed in there. Our theater was full, so full that most of the stuff was sold out.
They were sold out of the Minecraft buckets.
I am. Evening is ruined.
I'm gonna kill myself.
It was honestly crazy because seeing the reaction of the trailers for this movie, I kind of expected a lot of people to skip it. I thought people expected it to be slop. I mean, that's what happened with Morbius and Madam Web. They were very memed on, but not that many people actually went to see it. But that was not the case here. Heck, our theater was sold out. I live in suburban Illinois. A movie has to be a pretty big deal for a theater to sell out. I guess I forgot that Minecraft is the most popular thing ever made, and even the most popular thing that I've made was about Minecraft, so I guess that tracks. So we sat down in the packed theater filled with the loudest and most unsupervised middle schoolers I'd ever seen, and prepared to have a much more annoying experience than I was prepared for. But hey, at least I had my creeper poppy, and that didn't taste bad at all. The Minecraft movie comes in pretty hot. Jack Black just kinda narrates for what seems like 10 minutes, explaining that as a child all he wanted to do was work in the mines. But there's this old dude who didn't like the idea and ran him off.
Go on! Get out of here!
Am I in the right theater? This is Minecraft content? Usually adults in Minecraft spaces love children. Steve grows up and becomes an office worker. Now you may be thinking, that seems like a better job than working in a mine and inhaling 13 metric tons of coal annually. And I would agree with you, but Steve would not agree with you. It's all he can think about. He builds a mashed potato mine until he realizes that he's an adult and he can just change jobs. So he comes back to the mine after 30-something years, and that old guy is still there. He's still there. And he really still doesn't want him to mine for some reason. I don't know why. So Steve just jukes him and runs in anyway. Was he employed by the mining company? Why hasn't he aged? What does he just not let anyone into the mines? What's happening? Is Steve employed by the mining company, or did he just like buy a pickaxe and expect that to be enough? Now Steve mines until he finds the Tesseract and a novelty shot glass, which he combines them and it opens a portal to the Minecraft world. We see his journey as he enters Minecraft, as he like builds a bunch of houses, which I really like because it kind of reminds me of what it's like as a kid to get Minecraft and learn like what you can build stuff out of. As a kid, when you first get Minecraft, first you build your house out of dirt because it's right there, and then you figure out that you can knock down a tree and make wood, and then you find some other wacky material and you're like, whoa, what if I made the ugliest house possible? He meets his dog Dennis, who he forms a strong bond with, and he seemingly decides to stay in Minecraft for it. This movie is not real. Now, after years in the overworld, Steve comes across a ruined portal, which he intuitively knows how to rebuild and ignite.
Flint and steel!
It's funny because when these trailers came out, people are just asking if it was Jack Black saying the names of Minecraft things, and the thing about that is, yes, that is what this movie is. When Steve enters the Nether, he finds himself amidst this horde of piglins led by one very large and old piglin named Malgosia.
And why are you so round?
Insane body shaming. Need I remind you, Malgosia, you are a square pig. She captures Steve and Dennis, and we learn that she wants to use the orb to dominate the overworld.
Let's get one thing straight. Where I come from, we call this a cube.
But Steve breaks free long enough to free Dennis and send him back to the real world with the brick-guffin in his mouth, and he has him follow his scent back to his real-life house where he hides it under his bed. That's the end of the monologue, and we're 7 minutes in. He's narrated the whole thing. At this point, I was kind of expecting him to narrate the whole movie, and that would honestly be pretty funny. I'd be down for that. We meet Jason Momoa's character to the montage of a Guns N' Roses song. Crazy call by Clayton, by the way. He was down to the band. I don't know how he did that.
My money is on AC/DC or Guns N' Roses.
I straight up told him that was an incredibly long shot, so we put just a pop song montage in the bingo square. Egg on my face, I guess. And we both had squares for that, so we marked them off. Jason Momoa plays Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, who is a washed-up street fighter or something similar champion. He's clearly very full of himself, but also not doing very well.
Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison?
No autographs.
Have a nice day.
He's got like this 80s Macho Man vibe, and if you look at the footage that they have of him from when he was the champion, it's supposed to be in the late 80s, I think. So I guess this movie is set in like the early 2000s, because Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison doesn't look like he could be much older than 40. But he's hard up for cash, and he's scrounging for some way to make some capital. He heads to a storage facility for like a unit auction, and the unit he's looking at is clearly full of Steve's stuff.
It's got a waterbed. It's got some pickaxes. It's got a huge can of mixed nuts. It's got an array of unisex turquoise blouses.
He learns it has this old, unreleased version of an Atari, so he smooth talks his way into the auction dude rigging the auction for him.
Bro, if you make this happen for me, I will strongly consider hanging out with you.
You serious, bro?
Yep. Two big buffaloes like us out there in the wild, wearing unisex turquoise blouses. Oh boy, that's gonna cause a commotion.
All right, go ahead and check off queer baiting. What's funny about this is, well, actually just watch the auction clip.
Yeah, we got $500. $500 over here. We got $500. We got six. Do we have six? Do we have $600? We got $600 over here. I'll give you here $700. We got $700. We got $700 here. We got $800 over here. We got $850. Do we hear $850? Do we $850 over here? Do we hear any more? Do we hear $900? $900 going once. $900 going twice. And $900 going three times. And sold.
In what way did he help Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison to get that unit? This was just a normal auction. What did even slower than some auctions go? He just let him participate in the auction. But when he opens up the Atari box, it doesn't have an Atari in it. It just has a bunch of garbage and a glowing Tesseract. I guess he doesn't notice that. He's distracted, I guess. But the auction guy gets all mad about him throwing stuff around in the unit. I don't know why. He bought it. He already owns it. Also, Dan TDM is in the background, so we can go ahead and check that off the bingo card. So he drives home, all sad, and his car almost blows up, so he tries to put it out with his jacket and then decides to drive anyway. And that's his character. We cut to a brother and sister driving past him into the town of Chuglis, Idaho.
Look, Chuglis was not my first choice either, but it was Mom's dying wish for us to live here. Or at least that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, I read something online. This place sucks.
Anyways, rent is super low, and I've got a full-time gig here, so it's not really an offer we can turn down right now.
Listen, I know it seems odd for two children to be moving out into some random Idaho town, but the thing is, younger brother of mine, that our mother, who died and is dead, wanted us to live here, and also, because we're hard up for cash, it's good to live in a low-rent location. My main character motivation is getting by as a young adult in this new world by whatever means possible. Yeah, I read something on the internet. This place sucks. You did? Isn't this like 2004? Where'd you read that? MySpace. This kid, by the way, is named Henry. I thought you might need to know that early so you don't confuse him with a tiny Paul Rudd. They drive past Chuddy the Chip. I hate this guy. Chips aren't shaped like that at all. That is Chuddy the Spud. That is a chunk of potato with a face, and I hate him, and I hope to see his downfall. Chuddy the Chip. They meet their landlord, Dawn, who also runs a petting zoo business on the side.
Your new bosses sent you this.
Oh.
Yeah, people love working at the potato chip factory.
Yeah, well, I'm running their socials for a little bit. Said I'd get their follower count past 75.
On MySpace? The next day, Natalie makes lost a tater tot, whatever.
I made you Mom's signature tater tot breakfast pizza, so you can hand out slices on your first day.
I have never seen a breakfast pizza like that. Not once. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not with it. Maybe I'm not with the breakfast pizza zeitgeist. Henry finds his way into Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison's store, where the orb cube is just sitting on a table making a magical humming noise and glowing brightly. This guy just has this thing sitting out. Has he not questioned the obviously magical artifact that was taken straight out of Indiana Jones? He offers Henry lessons on how to win at life.
How do you actually win at life?
That's literally the answer I charge money for. Tots. What's with the breakfast pizza?
My sister made it. I'm supposed to hand out slices at school to make friends.
A little desperate for day one, don't you think?
Oh, so he just recognized that as a breakfast. It's fine. It's fine. I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Okay, well, I gotta go to school.
Whatever, nerd. Just leave the pizza.
Yeah, man, just go ahead and steal that child's food. Henry gets to school and we meet Principal Marlene. She's portrayed by Jennifer Coolidge and she's hilarious. Actually, I just learned the other day that she is the great-granddaughter of President Calvin Coolidge, and she talks a lot more than he ever did.
I'm Vice Principal Marlene, and I'm an open book. You probably heard that my husband Clemente recently divorced me. And to be honest, I expected it to hurt more than it does. You know, the fire went out on our marriage 20 years ago, but we stuck it out for the dogs.
Actually, all the school faculty is like this.
Good morning. Just a little something about myself. I teach gym, I teach art. Financially, I'm living in a nightmare, okay? I wouldn't wish my life on my worst enemy. Last year, I claimed $4,000 on my tax return. So in the summer, I do clams and oysters down by the airport. But most of my money is tied up in a drone kiosk at the mall.
Henry goes to art class and he draws a banana with a backpack, and some school bully is like,
That jetpack would never work.
which, yeah, no, there's a banana flying it, so no, it wouldn't work.
It's kind of foolproof, actually. It's just math.
Oh. Now that you mention it, I see it. The bullies tell him to prove it, so he, on his first day, mind you, utilizes the school lab during school hours to make a skeleton jetpack. So they go out into the school courtyard with the teacher there, by the way, as he prepares to launch his skeleton into the sky. But that one bully cuts a wire on the jetpack, which happened to be the wire that prevents acts of domestic terrorism. Take that, Chuddy the Chip. You take that, Chuddy the Chip. Fuck you. Fuck you, Chuddy the Chip. Henry has to call his parents, but his parents are dead. And instead of calling his sister, who is his legal guardian, he elects to call Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison instead.
Hi, I'm Henry's uncle.
You? The trash bag?
It's actually Garbage Man.
Garbage man, huh? Oh, you can bag me up and take me to the curb anytime. But you gotta bungee the lid, because I got a lot of raccoons in there.
Whoever divorced you is a complete idiot.
You know, for a kids movie, a lot of the funniest jokes in this are not aimed at children at all, and that's fine. It's just an odd choice. Also, how did you know she was divorced? How public is this principal's life? They head back to the store.
What's this stupid junk?
What do you mean? It's clearly a magical artifact in a McDonald's promotional glass. Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison finds a note that was presumably written by Dennis the dog that says, "Never under any circumstances combine the orb and crystal," which they promptly ignore. Fair, I would do the same. And then he turns the note over and it says, "Do not follow this orb even if you're a struggling business owner and need a ton of cash fast because there's loads of treasure down here, but it's not worth the danger." How did Dennis not write that? And why is he so bad at capitalizing? Dawn shows up to help Natalie find Henry, who's freaking out. Henry can only be like maybe an hour or so late from school, but you know, whatever. Already calling your landlord for help. But she's all like, "I can't find him." And Dawn is like, "Here, let me see your phone. I'll check his location." So Natalie hands her iPhone 16. What year is this? Genuinely, I don't know. How old is this guy? Or does this world just have early iPhone 16s? Also, you have to set up location tracking on your phone. You should know that you have location tracking on your phone. Why did you have to call your landlord? You know what, Natalie? I don't think you know what you're doing here. I don't think you're all that competent. You don't even know what breakfast pizza is, okay? You didn't get that from your mom. That's a fucking Facebook recipe. You are in the middle of Idaho. You just found those tater tots growing on a tree outside, and then you don't even know how to use your own phone from 20 years in the future that you set up. Anyway, Henry and Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison follow the orb into an abandoned mine shaft, as Dawn put it, which means that old guy's dead. but Natalie and Dawn catch them before they go through the portal, which they find in there. That mineshaft must have been right next door, because that would... Never mind. They all get sucked into the portal, and then Dawn hits Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison's face with her butt from 12 feet away. And then she goes, my butt, my butt. And even though I know there's a lot of confusion around when this movie takes place, I can at least be sure that that joke came right out of 2006. Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison tries to befriend a pink sheep as a quest giver, and meanwhile, while nobody's looking, a nitwit villager makes his way through the portal to the real world. No, I shouldn't say real world. This place is real. That nitwit is a real man. He's just cubular. We cut to the Nether where this cute little piglin is drawing a picture. And Malgosha fakes him out, pretending to be interested in the picture and telling him what a good job he's doing. And then she kills him. She kills him. Stabs him right through his little piglin body. Throws his little pork chop aside. I hate you, Malgosha. I hate you for what you are and what you've done and who you've hurt. She sees that the orb is back in the overworld somehow, and she goes down to her dungeon to where she's keeping Steve. I love this sequence here.
Roundling! Malgosha! Was I unclear when I said no one was to waste time on art or leisure? Oh!
This next clip, though, I do not get.
The orb has returned. Can't be. Dennis? You stole it from me, and now you will retrieve it. It would be a privilege, my liege. They're going to unbind you now. Don't do anything stupid.
Of course not. You can trust this little dungeon pup. Let me just sneak attack!
Go ahead. Strike me down. My piglins will make a meal of your beautiful wolf.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
There's only one way to find out. The orb for your little dog's life.
Now, let me get this straight. Dennis is in the overworld, most likely. They don't know where he is either. The piglins cannot go to the overworld without zombifying. The only way the piglins can get Dennis is if Steve gets the orb for Malgosha to go to the overworld. He could just kill her right now. He could just stab her. These piglins are not smart enough to coordinate. He would be fine. But whatever. Doesn't matter. Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison is trying to make friends with this sheep.
That thing doesn't understand a word you're saying.
But night falls and he runs away.
All right, everyone, stay calm. Free garbage tip. Fear is just weakness, hijacking your body's cockpit.
What in the hell?
And if that happens, you can say Biocon DS to your body plane's navigation system.
What? Yeah, Garbage Man isn't speaking English or Espanol.
I'll talk more about this clip later, but just put a pin in that. They're attacked by a ton of mobs. They somehow learn that they can break and build things really easily, so Henry starts building a fort, although he does drop the orb in the process. Meanwhile, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison digs his way to safety and gets exploded by a creeper, and then he sees his pink sheep friend being torn apart by a horde of zombies while screaming like a real man. Terrifying. Also doesn't happen in the game, but terrifying. Also, that's a bingo square. That's the getting attached to a cute mob thing and it dies. He finds the cube and just stands still with it, and then a skeleton shoots it out of his hand because he's the dumbest guy ever. It breaks the shot glass part of it, and that turns the portal off. So naturally, he does what any of us would do and stuffs the cube in his pants. Naturally, although I myself would not trust a glowing cube like that anywhere near my orbs, but, you know, whatever whatever floats your boat. I'm not here to yuck any yums. Steve shows up and beats off a couple Steve shows up and like beats the zombies away from the group. He saves the fellowship from the mobs. He's gotta be stacked, by the way. Like late game Minecraft player pre-nether update. He throws an enchanted diamond axe away like it's nothing, just for like one single zombie. He's not wearing armor either. He's just that goated. And then he does a sinners on the other zombies.
I'm Steve.
Everybody screamed that in the theater. I don't need to even say that. I love how Steve is used in this movie because he really can't be the main character the way that he's written. He's the guy who knows all the stuff, so he kind of has to play the Paragon role instead. Otherwise, the audience isn't really gonna understand what's happening. I don't think there's a better actor to do this. I'll talk about this more, but nobody else could just like say stuff the way that Jack Black says stuff and get away with it. At least not naturally, but Jack Black doesn't have to say anything naturally. In fact, he hates saying things naturally.
How'd you get that?
Hey, rely, muchacho.
is my property.
Do you even know what that is? It's the orb of dominance.
It's a cube.
Okay. Ha ha! You people seriously have no idea what you're dealing with. Hand it over and no one gets hurt.
No way. Okay, we need this thing to get home.
I hate to take a big fat dumperoo on your plans, but you can't get home.
What do you mean we can't get home?
Not without the Earth Crystal.
You mean that little boxy thing? Garbage man busted it.
Nuh-uh.
Listen, Henry, why don't you hold this? You got those good Frodo vibes.
Henry, don't touch that. I don't want to have to tell you where that's been. Whatever, who cares? Actually, though, who does care? Because it seems like his sister doesn't. Dawn and Natalie are way too chill about Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, who literally kidnapped him from school under the false pretense of guardianship, and then led him into an abandoned mine shaft. The second Natalie called the school, and they found out that that wasn't his uncle who picked him up, that's an Amber Alert. Or it should have been. I guess it's not. Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison should be on the registry for life. For life. You're making jokes about him talking to his sheep? He kidnapped a little boy. I don't care if he's speaking English, Espanol, fucking Gaelic. Who cares? We got Larry Ardhauer over here. Kill him! I know that's not his deal. I know he's just supposed to be a stupid guy. Just a stupid guy who wanted $26 from a child and a breakfast pizza.
I have a weird favor to ask.
Could you come to my school and pretend to be my uncle?
No way, I don't do that stuff anymore.
I have 26 bucks.
But Dawn and Natalie don't know that. You don't just assume people are that dumb. Obviously. And obviously they don't care enough, because Steve explains that they have to go to the Woodland Mansion to get another one of those shot glasses so that they can go back to the real world. And Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison asserts himself as the leader.
All right, Steve. Under two conditions. One, always address me because I'm the leader. Two, if you double-cross us, I will crack your cabeza with my butt cheeks like a walnut.
This guy is such a tool bag.
I'm so sorry. We just met this man, and he's not the leader.
Well, it looks like Dr. Swellenstein here just got himself a deal.
Oh my gosh.
I would be fighting back a little harder than what Dawn is doing here. In fact, if I thought someone kidnapped a child, I would lead with that. Even a Jack Black character would level with that. He wouldn't be chill with that, I don't think.
I have been touched by your kids. And I'm pretty sure I've touched them.
Well, okay, well, I shouldn't say that. Steve takes them to a village to prepare for their quest. And, not to be racist, but these villagers are revolting. They look like a J.D. Vance edit. I hate that they are cubes, but also have pores. We also see Technoblade.
Whoa. Is he some kind of king?
No. That's a legend.
Does Steve know about Minecraft YouTubers? Or did he just find a pig he really liked and put a crown on it? I'm talking like within the canon universe. I know it's a tribute, but you know, just asking questions. On a serious note though, I learned that this little homage was actually a really late addition to the movie suggested by Henry's actor. And I think that's cool that they listened to him enough to add something like that in. Natalie sees an iron golem and freaks out.
Relax, it's just an iron golem, local security force. But they're a bunch of big softies! Unless you start messing with the villagers. Don't ever do that!
How does he know that? That was way too convincing. I don't think this is the first village he's found. I think that Steve found out exactly what happens when you mess with villagers because Steve messed with villagers. There is very likely a ghost village 24 chunks that way. Steve takes them to his restaurant, Steve's Lava Chicken, where he does a whole song and somewhat dance.
You ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken? I did, and you're about to find out. Uh-oh! You hear that? That's the sound of sizzling. Mm-hmm. Smell that smell. Lava, chicken. Steve's Lava Chicken, yeah, tasty as hell. Ooh, mama, see now you're ringing the bell. Crispy and juicy, now you're having a snack. Ooh, super spicy, it's a lava.
That was fire, obviously. But did you catch that? Did you catch what he said before?
You ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken?
No. No, I haven't wondered that, Steve. It's different when a Minecraft player does it, because a Minecraft player knows that this world is not real and these are not living beings. You, though, Steve, just decided to see what would happen if you tried to burn a chicken alive. You're a monster. You're a bad man. They say torturing animals is a pretty big sign of a serial killer. You did kill those villagers. You killed them. Or maybe you didn't even kill them. Maybe you have a subterranean slave colony 30 chunks south of here. How about that? But then Steve tries to bite into his own food product that he knows is cooked at a hot temperature and burns his mouth. And then Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison tries to upstage him by biting into it. And Steve is like,
Garrett, wait! Hear my words. That chicken was just cooked in hot lava. Let it cool down, man.
Wait, so you had the logic to figure out now that it's too hot. Now that you already took a bite of the product that you made yourself. Hold on. Kids movie. Take a step back. Kids movie.
Not bad.
Garbage man, you're a big time idiot.
Oh, so you can figure that out, but you can't call him out for kidnapping? Malgosia sends this big pig in the overworld to get Steve. And we learn that they have this nether wart potion, right? That they can drink, and that will, like, prevent them from zombifying. But they can't use a lot of it because they don't have a lot of it. Meanwhile, Natalie talks with Steve about getting to the Woodland Mansion.
How do we find this Woodland Mansion thing?
Over the mountains, into the dark forest, right beyond the massive red shrooms.
Massive red shrooms.
Mm-hmm. Big old red ones.
Okay. Natalie, though, isn't having any fun here, and she wants to leave as soon as possible. And Steve is like, your little brother might want to stay here. Which, by the way, do not suggest to a young woman that she abandon her little brother, for whom she is responsible to your care in this freaky magical world made of squares. She just watched you burn a chicken alive like it was a bit. It was a bit. It's not like they're lobsters where there's some utility to cook. I'm back on the chicken thing. I shouldn't be back on the chicken thing. But Natalie says he's too creative and it gets him into trouble, which upsets him and he walks off.
Maybe I belong in this rock.
Henry, that's not what I meant. It's not what I was saying at all.
Huh? No, you follow that boy. You don't let your little brother walk off in this strange world with that freak out on the loose.
Just so you know, I'm more of a sister to Hank than he'll ever be. Yeah. Spin kick.
Or that freak out on the loose. This should have been a bingo square, by the way. Not the freaks out on the loose, but the whole trope of, like, saying something that could be perceived as hurtful and then the other character overhears that one little bit of it. I hate that trope so bad. But now it's just the fellas, you know, the kidnapper, the at least admitted assailant, and the small child, and they're going through Steve's stuff.
Look but don't touch. Those are some of my favorite treasures.
New stim, by the way. And Steve shows them the crafting table.
This is a crafting table.
They both make strange things that do not exist in the game. I remember people complaining about that when the trailers came out, like, oh, these aren't in the game. No, they know that. They're totally new. That's the point of the clip. Henry is good at creating stuff and makes a tot launcher. And Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison is a dumb guy and makes a thing that's not useful. He made buck chuckets. That's not a real thing.
Bro, you had tots the whole time?
Yeah, sorry.
Real. Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison Jack blackmails Steve into giving him diamonds if he wants to get the orb. I personally would pass because it was in his pants. And while this is going on, the piglins are making their way to the village and are now invading. They just killed that guy. They just killed a whole man in a kid's TV show. They shot him in the face. They shot a guy in the face. She is having a fair reaction. That guy is dead. He's a full guy. He's dead. The big pig recognizes Steve, and Steve goes,
"Crap! Chungus."
I don't have a comment on that. What I do have a comment on, though, is that Chungus tells Steve that he has to unalive him.
I'm really sorry, but I have to unalive you and stuff. Ah!
Which made me want to kill myself. You guys need to stop saying unalive. You could just say kill. You pissing me off. But it did give me a bingo square, so I do forgive them. So Steve is getting ready to fight Chungus. And to be very honest, I was kind of hyped to see another Jack Black fight scene. I enjoyed watching him like fight all those zombies. But Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison knocks him out with his butt chuckets and then literally gets his butt kicked. There's this whole fight scene. The Iron Golem saves him.
Ninja roll.
I have enjoyed myself. I have. Steve comes to and they start evacuating. And Natalie sees Henry being swept away by these two adult men who are strangers and realizes that shouldn't happen. She's not worried about the fact that they're being left alone in a raid and that they're abandoning her and Dawn. No, she's concerned that these two adult men are stealing her little brother. But the fellas, the boys club comes to a dead end. So they do a can't fight gravity with their elytra wingsuits. How do you have those, by the way? You're telling me you've been to the end multiple times to get multiple elytra wingsuits? Or at least once, and you have a duplication glitch? Which I'm willing to entertain. I admit I've done some duping back in my day. But that means that you would have either had to find Eyes of Ender through multiple strongholds just to get enough of them. Or maybe you found like the 1 in a trillion chance like end portal that just spawns in with all the Eyes of Ender in it. Maybe. I don't even know if that's really possible anymore. But maybe. Maybe you're not the first guy here. Maybe, you know, somebody hid that artifact for a reason in that cave. Who knows? Maybe, you know. But Henry figures out how to fly after they shove him off a cliff. And the theme from Spider-Man 3 plays.
Buenos dias. Which means see you later.
Where do all these guys come from?
Crazy? And then Garrett the Garbage Man jumps, and Steve realizes he didn't bring one for himself.
I thought I grabbed 3! Wait for me! Coming in hot!
So you did mean to leave the women, because you only got 3. You only got 3 way back before the raid even happened. You were just gonna leave them behind for the piglins to unalive them. You were planning to ditch them all along at the very least, and now you are okay with them dying.
Let go of my hair! Just relax. Let my hips guide you. It's the only way. What?
What was I talking about again? They fly like this for a while.
Hey! We'll have a better chance if we split up!
Bingo square. And then they have this hole that they're coming up to in the wall that they have to fit through. So they have to go full man sandwich. And by full man sandwich, I obviously mean that they have to 69.
Head for the tunnel! We're not gonna fit! We're too chunky! We're gonna have to go nose to toes. Full man sandwich! What? No, I'm not gonna do that! I'm ordering you to make a full man sandwich! Okay!
I don't think you really, like a sandwich is 2 pieces of bread and there's stuff in between. I guess there was meat in between.
Tighten up! What? There's still some negative space back there! We both know it! I'm trying to close the gaps! Okay, now get ready! I'm gonna squeeze for your safety! I understand!
Before I go any further, we have to have a quick aside because I need to show you this interview clip.
I need to know, what does it feel like to be in a man sandwich between Jack Black and Jason Momoa? I need to know so I can go back to the people and tell them this is what it feels like.
Surprisingly okay.
Oh, you really need to know?
I need to know.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Do this.
Get in here. Other way, bro.
Other way.
No, bro.
No, wait.
I don't want to do a man sandwich. You do a man sandwich.
Wait, hold on.
I kind of think this whole sequence was Jack Black's idea. I can't prove it, but I believe it in my heart. They link up with Henry and crash land.
I'm gonna cushion our fall with this water bucket. Release!
Hey guys, it was nothing really. I saw fire, I had some water, I released. Flood on aisle 2. Does that translate here? Is that a joke here? Flood on aisle 2? Okay.
Meanwhile, our women do make an escape, no thanks to our heroes, and
There he is! Hey, get back here! We need a map! First we need a boat! Okay, hurry! The map guy's flown away!
What's so funny to you? Everyone you know is dead. Steve is gonna have to feed you so much bread to repopulate this whole village. You are going to be run through and fat. Speaking of run through villagers or run over, Jennifer Coolidge hits the nitwit with her car. Jeep Grand Cherokee, to be specific.
You're not gonna sue me, are you? Because everyone wants to sue me once I hit them with my Jeep Grand Cherokee.
And then so that he doesn't sue her, she invites him out to dinner. I hate the pores on his nose so much. He's disgusting. This guy is disgusting. There's a whole B-plot with this villager and Jennifer Coolidge, which I'm mostly gonna glaze over, but basically it's the beginning of We Live in Time if Andrew Garfield was square. I do want to show this one clip.
Are you finished?
No, I think he's Swedish. But we're done with our meal.
What's important about that? Nothing. I just thought it was funny. Genuinely, you don't know how many one-liners I want to include in this just because I thought they were funny little jokes, but I just don't think I should because that would be confusing. But for instance, like after they land, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison asks,
How are we gonna stop those pigs, and why does my beard smell like gorgonzola?
and Steve says,
Look! The sorceress is a pigling queen called Malgosha. Those are her minions. She rules over them in a dark hellscape called the Nether. And I always keep a chunk of gorgonzola in my front pocket, okay?
and I'm saying that because none of these jokes have anything to do with Minecraft at all. They're just in there. And I'll talk about that more at the end of the video, but it weighs heavy on my mind. We learn the backstory of Malgosha, who apparently was rejected by the piglins because her dance moves were too bad. And because her dance moves were so bad and she got so rejected, she has renounced creativity overall and wants to strip the entire Minecraft realm of any kind of creativity. And that's why she killed that little pig, that little innocent little pig. Killed that pig. But that's why she needs the orb, so that she can do that somehow. Malgosha kills Chungus, unalives Chungus for failing to kill Steve, and she replaces him with the Great Hog. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, a wolf confronts Dawn and Natalie, and Dawn just instinctively knows to give it a bone to tame it. And it turns out that that wolf is Dennis. I don't know how he became untamed, but I guess he did. So whose dog is this now? Anyway, he leads them to Steve. Steve brings Henry and Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison to his stash of diamonds.
Yes, my diamonds.
Henry catches on to the fact that they wasted time to get to the diamond stash instead of going straight to the Woodland Mansion just so that Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison could get stacked. But before they can hash it out, they smell the... and they make a run for it in... wait for it... a minecart. Check it off. They accidentally get stuck in the middle of a creeper farm and they make Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison get out and push. I guess these are the creepers that don't explode. Never mind. Now that they're out, Henry gets on to Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison about making them go down there, and he gives his sob story about why he needs money.
I'm not doing well. I'm washed up, Hank, and I'm gonna lose everything.
Low-key, this movie is the only reason I know that Hank is another name for Henry.
And that's not the worst part. I'm alone.
You weren't alone. I was your friend.
Sorry about your finances.
Now that was a cold line from Henry. But what I want you to remember is what Steve said, and we'll put a pin in that. I'll come back to it later. Now, they're planning the heist of the Woodland Mansion, and Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison reveals that he had the orb the whole time. And that makes Henry, of course, even more mad at him now. And Steve tells them that there is an Enderman on the 3rd floor of the Woodland Mansion, which is where they need to go to get the Earth Crystal. He warns that you shouldn't look him in the eye because he'll fry your brains out, which is not how they work, but okay. And then Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison says he has an idea on a way to distract the Illagers.
Sounds crazy.
Hit me.
Friendship is the wish you make when you're blowing out the candles on your birthday cake. Don't be a bully and don't be a boot. Time to put on your birthday suit.
I don't know why he thought that singing about putting on your birthday suit with Steve would be particularly effective on these guys specifically. But I guess it kinda works. But they capture both of them and put them in a fighting ring.
You got this, Gargoyle! Reach down deep! You're the trunkless kitten, I love you!
I love Jack Black. I really do. You've seen this by now. They do the thing with the chicken, and then they lower the box and a zombie goes on, and Steve goes,
Chicken Jockey!
Yes, expensive miniature Steve from a Minecraft movie portrayed by Jack Black. That is what he said. Everyone in the movie theater screamed Chicken Jockey as loud as possible. including me and Clayton, so...
Chicken Jockey!
Yeah, Chicken Jockey. Everybody's seen the scene. I don't need to describe it, but I will say that they do the cute mob fake-out thing because Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison is so dumb, and the baby zombie pretends to be hurt, and he falls for it. While Steve, by the way, the guy who lives there, fights zombies regularly, and is dressed the same way as the zombie for some reason, screams that it's a trap. I'd also like to point out that the baby zombie is a chicken jockey for all of like 4 seconds, and then it gets off of the chicken and attacks him like a baby zombie instead. Like, the chicken helps, don't get me wrong, but like...
Chicken Jockey!
Alright, mark off the square. Henry finds the Earth Crystal. This scene stressed me out because the way he's holding it just makes me feel like he's gonna drop it. Like, his hands don't look like they're made to hold stuff yet. He doesn't, though. Instead, he turns and looks an Enderman directly in the eyes. Alright, whatever you do, do not look an Enderman in the eyes. If you don't look at them, they're completely harmless. But if you do, they will totally melt your brain. Okay, got it. But hey, don't get in your head about this, alright? They're really, really tall, so you would basically have to try to look one in the eye. Bingo square, by the way. Henry gets all of these visions of everyone he knows being mean to him.
You'll never be as cool as me, Hank. Just give up.
Why do you still think he's cool? He's a kid. He's in Andrew Tate's target demographic. He's gonna be dumb. That's okay. When Steve shows up to be mean to him, he has white eyes. Herobrine reference, check it off. Apparently they're claiming that was a mistake, like some kind of graphical glitch. That was a glitch. Yeah, it was also a glitch when Clayton joined my Minecraft world that one time, and the sheep in the sheep machine had his name on it. Whoops, must have been a virus. And then Henry just swings an axe at it a ton and it dies. Why didn't they tell him he could just try to kill it a little? It's a free ender pearl.
Did you get the Earth Crystal?
Yeah, I got it.
That's funny. They run out on the bridge, but Malgosha catches up to them and cuts them off in her little gas blimp thing. Then she steals the Earth Crystal, tells her piglins to kill them, and then leaves before she can watch it happen. That should have also been a bingo square. I didn't think about that.
No! They're gonna blow this bridge sky high!
There's another square. Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison throws Henry onto one of those rafts with the gas, and Steve follows him.
Yeah! Slime cube!
But Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison stays behind for some reason and does a hero's sacrifice. And then Steve and Henry crash land. We cut to Steve waking up in a mushroom house where he finds Dennis and the rest of the gang. Everybody's here now. Good, I kind of forgot this movie had women in it.
I am really sorry about what I said. And I'm really sorry about Garrett.
Maybe don't be. I don't know. I really don't think you should... Did he just drop bread out of it? Maybe a little irreverent. I mean, I know the guy was a kidnapper, but... Malgosha uses the End Crystal to begin killing the overworld.
Well, what are we doing here? Let's go fight some pigs.
I'm ready. I'm done with those pigs.
Yeah, me too.
Let's do it for Gaga. First we mine, then we craft. Let's Minecraft!
I really didn't think they were going to say that. Like, Clayton and I talked about making that a bingo square, and we thought it would be too on the nose. Also, sky beams? That should have been a square. Can I lock in? Henry makes a plan to defend the overworld. He needs boots of swiftness, which I didn't think were in the game, and I had to look them up. Apparently, they're in Minecraft dungeons, so, ooh. Steve has to mine a ton of diamonds, which apparently he can do in the span of 10 minutes. Brother, do you have X-ray on? Are you doing the boat trick? They're setting up a ton of iron golems to fight the piglins, and while they're putting them together, Henry accidentally throws Boots of Swiftness on the little T where the pumpkin head goes instead of the pumpkin head. And that makes a swift iron golem. Now, forgive me, but that seems really dumb to me. Not because it's not a real thing in the game, because neither are the boots. Not because you can't place armor like that, because again, not a real item. What I don't like is the only way that you can make a golem in the first place is if you put a pumpkin head on it. Like, all the golems have that in common. Have them, like, drop the boots at its feet or something to make the swift golem. Don't get rid of the pumpkin head. Don't piss me off. You're pissing me off. And then once they build them all, Malgosha is like,
ha! Newsflash! Iron golems will not attack unless provoked!
And then Travis shoots one of the iron golems.
Real smooth, Travis!
And then Travis gets absolutely fucked. We get this big fight scene between everyone. Henry's spud launcher is ridiculously cracked. And then we see this, and genuinely, it went ridiculously hard. This is how it felt seeing Steve Rogers catch Mjolnir in Endgame to me. And then Malgosha breaks the armor like almost immediately. You know how in the final fight of like every Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man's mask gets ripped off so you can see Peter's face underneath because they paid an actor to see his face for all of the movie? That's kind of how it is with this, except it's Jack Black's body. And then he launches a bunch of eggs at her, and she goes,
What is this? Breakfast?
and I almost killed myself at that one, but I hung on. I also like how he launches a bunch of eggs at her and a bunch of chickens cover her eyes, and then he doesn't use that opportunity to like attack her or something. He just thought it would be funny. I think he can respawn, to be honest. This is all just a joke to him. I think that Iron Golem did kill him when he terrorized that village and he learned that there are no stakes here at all. Henry uses his Tot Launcher to launch Chekhov's Ender Pearl to the top of the tower where the world crystal is, the Earth crystal, orb of power, tesseract thing. I'm beginning to think it's just a beacon. Also, how does he do that? I've never seen him had to load that thing before. I thought he just had infinite tots in there. Does he just have that many tater tots with him? I thought they were complimentary. The piglins are about to kill Natalie, but Dawn sends all the dogs that she's tamed out in the woods to kill them. So the big pig isn't able to kill Natalie, but he is able to aim a laser beam at Henry and shoot him off the top of the portal, I guess. And he falls, and he's definitely gonna die. And he's caught by a mysterious... Of course, it's there at the Garbage Man Garrison on a gassed raft. Who else will be here to save him, you know?
Between us, I used Steve's water bucket trick.
Deus Ex Machina, check the bingo square. That gave Clayton a bingo. McDonald's it is. Fine, I didn't even want to win anyway. What do I care? It would look bad if I won my own bingo game in my own video. It's a stupid game anyway. I didn't even want that. It's just a stupid game. Who cares if I have to buy Clayton food and watch him eat it in front of me?
They love crushing a lot.
Shut up! Shut the— Henry stabs the gas that he's riding on in the gooch with a poker, which is kind of screwed up when you think about the new Ghast lore drop. And then the Ghast shoots an obsidian portal and blows it up, because that's a thing that Ghasts can do. They can explode obsidian. Whatever. I don't even care. I don't even care. The big made-up piglin grabs the Tesseract and he looks like he's gonna get away with it and save the day for the piglins, but the other made-up mob beats him up. Okay, I hate describing fight scenes. And I feel like I'm retelling a dream that I had when I was 5 years old. Steve beats Malgosha. I have to say, I love the nasal on the helmet that he has because it is not covering his nose at all. And then we get one of my favorite clips from this movie.
Wait, one more thing. Come closer.
Do you have a little knife that you're gonna try to stab me with?
No, I'm too weak.
Alright.
Come on! It was worth a shot. Wait, let me say one more thing. Come closer.
No way!
No, really, it's about you.
Fine.
Lean down here.
And with that, the day is saved. So when I rewatched this, I pirated an unfinished copy of it. And this is how the villagers looked. Like in the next scene, they're, saying goodbye and all the villagers are crowded around. They looked like this. And to be honest with you, I think something like this would have been way easier on the eyes. Even if it was like they still made them square and they just used prosthetics and put like a big nose on their face, but it's like an actual guy's face there. It would have been a little creepy, would have been a little Spy Kids looking maybe, but I think it would have been better than this. I hate this. I hate this so much. Now, the gang tries to talk Steve into going back to the real world, and he says that he has a ton of stuff that he still wants to do in Minecraft, which is fair. Also, I really don't think a guy like this should be in the real world, but he also just seemed like he didn't have a real good time in the real world, and this is a real place in this canon. There are real people here who he definitely killed some of. And then we find out that he's sending Dennis to the overworld with Dawn. Why? He's sad about sending him. Dennis is sad about leaving. Yeah, Dawn could make a lot of money off of Dennis in her little petting zoo business, but she has like 30 other dogs that she trained to bite pigs. She tamed all of those in like the span of 10 minutes. Even if those are all gone for some reason, I'm sure she could find more and bring those back that aren't his special personal dog. And look at all these villagers crying in the background, empathizing with him. These are real people. and he murdered them.
I wish you'd come home with us. Hank's cool, but I don't have any friends my age.
At least he's self-aware.
You would make a great team. Vaya con Dios. It means goodbye, brother.
No, it doesn't.
Now, I really thought that Clayton and I had made a great read here, where Steve was given the opportunity to return to the real world, and he decides to stay behind forever. But then, Natalie said this line.
Are you sure you don't want to come back?
Yeah, I'm staying here. I got a bunch more stuff I want to build.
Why don't you bring some of that magic to the real world?
And he's going back to the real world, isn't he? Yeah, look at him, skipping his tush to the real world. Now we get our obligatory ending song and dance, and we get to see where everybody ends up. Dawn becomes a successful zoo person. Natalie quits her potato chip job and teaches self-defense.
Natalie decided to share her new skill set with the real world. Survival mode self-defense. The streets of Chugless have never been safer. You get him, Natalie!
I like how she has everything in this Minecraft theme, and people are just supposed to get what that's about. Like, this whole class is about beating up a piglin. That's like having a class specifically about beating up guys from your high school that you didn't like. Alright class, so today we're going over Joel Brenton. Now what you need to remember about Joel is that he's got you by about 40 pounds, but he also has a lazy eye, so his depth perception is all out of whack. Come at him with your non-dominant hand, right, like this, and then he's gonna block. While he's blocking, pull back, hit him with the other hand. He won't be able to see it coming. While he's reeling from the blow, grab his collar, pull him in, okay? Whisper in his ear, I know what you had to do with Coach Blevins to stay on the football team, and if you ever disrespect me again, the whole school is gonna hear about it. Now, what's important to remember here is Brad Dollins always hangs around Joel. Brad is very short, so you gotta remember the knee, right up into the chin. Very short, and his chin is very weak. He'll go out like a light, right up into the chin. Henry is allowed to remake his jetpack, or maybe he recovers it from the ruins of Chuddy the Chip. I guess he's not in trouble over that, but I guess Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison also isn't in trouble about his, kidnapping of a child, because he's able to keep up his store and everything and sing songs with Jack Black. I guess crimes are just fine. I guess it's also fine for Henry, a minor, to pilot his jetpack through American airspace. Before the credits roll, we see Jennifer Coolidge talking to the villager.
I know how much you love bread.
Marlene, your ex-husband's here. He said it was an emergency.
Well, you tell him I've got nothing to say to him.
You gotta be kidding me, Marlene. This is the guy?
Too late, Clemente. You had your chance.
She's right, Clemente. You totally blew it. And now I reap the rewards of your mistake.
Now, I would understand if Clemente is shocked about the villager's appearance, but he just seems shocked about the villager talking. You don't know these guys don't speak English.
Marlene, ever since we met last night, I wanted to say, would you marry me?
Yes! Yes! 1,000 times yes!
Wait, so she just fed him bread. And then, don't those hearts mean... Now, the movie was almost over, but Clayton and I stuck it out. I had one square that I was very sure was going to be checked off, even if it had to be in an after credit.
Hi, sorry to bug. I used to live here, and I'm Steve.
Oh, is this about that chest in the attic?
Yeah! I'm so glad that's still around.
Hey, you want to come in? I'm Alex, by the way.
Alex, great to meet you.
So that was it. We walked out of the theater different people than we were when we walked in. I wasn't sure if it was for better or for worse. Yes, we would be saying the lines from it for the next 3 weeks.
Chicken Jockey. The nether. Printed steel. The old workhorse. You love crushing loaf. Oh, these dudes? They're the villagers. Crafting table.
But I couldn't really say what I thought about the movie. Luckily for me, I had time to think it over because I owed Clayton a Happy Meal.
See, can I get them 2 of the Minecraft meals with the Big Macs?
I'm actually out of Big Macs.
I gotcha. I used to do that 10-piece nugget one.
Dude, their bun machine broke. Alright, we got the Minecraft meals here. We got collectibles with it.
Sir, my 10-piece McNugget Minecraft meal.
Yeah.
This is McDonald's toy.
I
got the Grimace. Got the Grimace egg.
I got whatever this old freak. Oh, it's the hamburger.
The Grimace egg. Grimace egg.
Cool. But now that I've had time to think it over, what are my thoughts on the movie? As somebody who grew up playing the game and watched the Minecraft community make content around it, I've seen a lot of people try to make lore for Minecraft. Heck, even Minecraft itself has done it with something like Minecraft Story Mode. There have been plenty of takes on what the world means and what the character of Steve is and what his relationship to the Minecraft world is like. People have made lore about the Nether and the End. And even though most of this is speculation on what the Minecraft world is as a whole, we do have some bits of established lore through gameplay and just other little blips here and there from Mojang about Minecraft. Lore about how mobs work and biomes and special items and such. And the Minecraft movie, I hate to say, doesn't really respect that. There is an actual Nether boss, and instead we get this entirely new character to be the big bad of the Nether. Steve has elytra wingsuits, but he's never been to the End. Henry is able to craft a tater tot launcher. Or, you know what would happen if you tried to make a tater tot launcher in Minecraft? Nothing, jack squat. You know what would happen if you got stuck in a creeper farm with a massive piglin chasing after you in the real game? First off, you would explode, and second off, you would never be there in the first place because massive piglins don't exist in Minecraft. And neither does that speedy iron golem. Heck, neither do the boots that Henry used to make them. Why are we just disregarding all of the established lore in the game in lieu of this new lore that we just made up for the movie? It just seems, more and more, that this movie was not made for the very people who grew up playing the game.
Trace.
Steve?
Yes, Trace, it's me. Expensive miniature Steve from a Minecraft movie portrayed by Jack Black.
You can speak in more than just Minecraft terms?
Only when I must, and I must now. Trace, the Minecraft movie wasn't made for people who grew up playing the game.
It wasn't?
No. In fact, it wasn't even made for people who grew up at all.
It wasn't?
Nope.
It was made for dead kids?
It was made for kids.
Dead ones?
Regular ones.
Huh.
Trace, Minecraft is a world of wonder and creativity. It's perfect for a child to let their imagination flourish. Kids want something new. You don't always need to fit into some pre-cut template. We should give kids something more for their imagination to run with.
So, you're saying all this lore that I wanted to see didn't really need to be included? And that the real value of the movie is the joy and the spark that it gave to all the children who watched it? I guess you're right. I hadn't really thought of it that way before. I'm an adult. This movie wasn't for me. And that's okay. Thank you, Expensive Miniature Steve from a Minecraft movie portrayed by Jack Black. You've shown me a new perspective. Thank you. Steve?
Chicken Jockey!
So genuinely, I loved this movie. It was a lot of fun. And that's funny because I really wouldn't rank it as a great movie. I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. Maybe it's because my expectations were so low, but I was so genuinely pleased with how just entertaining it was. I didn't expect some kind of grand, masterpiece in storytelling, and if you did, you might be the dumbest guy ever. And I don't mean that it was entertaining in a Madam Web so bad it's good way. I mean a genuine, simple, unhinged, entertaining way. I didn't expect to see Jason Momoa 69 with Jack Black. I didn't expect to see Jennifer Coolidge dump her marital woes on a little boy, or watch that little boy commit domestic terrorism. But I did. I saw all of those things on the silver screen, and that's the magic of Hollywood. And something of all those things that I mentioned that I really enjoyed seeing, that all of them have in common, is none of them have anything to do with Minecraft. And I mentioned that before, but most of the jokes are completely unrelated to Minecraft in this movie. I mean, not all that much of this movie itself has to do that much with Minecraft besides the theming and the setting. And you might think that's not a good thing, but I want you to step back a minute and really think about it. When you think about video game adaptations, maybe you think about the Mario movie or the Last of Us series. Both of those have a lot to do with the lore of their universe, but they have a story to begin with, or at least a story concept. At the very least, they already have a template. You don't really want content around those games to try and re-engineer the lore and the story of their universe, or you'll end up with something like the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Okay, look, how many Marios are there between the two of you?
There's three. There's Mario and Luigi Mario.
Mike! Up these Marios around the side.
Which was not good. So when I think about a Minecraft movie, I think about how very little of Minecraft was a main point of interest. Not that the whole movie wasn't built around it, but that most of the things that you're going to take away from this movie and really remember didn't have that much built up around Minecraft itself. The main villains aren't really about Minecraft. The main conflict isn't really about Minecraft. Even most of the jokes aren't even about Minecraft. To an extent that, I was kind of surprised by. Heck, I mean, you saw the type of thing that Clayton and I had on our bingo cards. Jokes like Blockhead were right there. I'm not saying it would have been good, but it was right there. I mean, I expected that bingo square about looking in an Enderman's eyes to be something along the lines of a joke, like they tell someone not to look into the Enderman's eyes, and then he's so stupid, so he immediately looks into the Enderman's eyes, or he's already looking into the Enderman's eyes, and he's like, guys. But when you think about it, the biggest jokes that we get around Minecraft was Jack Black saying the names of Minecraft things really loudly and in a weird way. And you know what? Those were the biggest jokes, because Chicken Jockey destroyed several theaters. And to be clear, I'm not saying that's bad. I think it would have gotten pretty old pretty quickly if all the jokes in this movie were what you'd find in 2015 in the boys' shirt section in Target. At least those Minecraft jokes got to be a way for Jack Black to deliver exposition to the other characters in a way that wasn't boring and was actually pretty entertaining. And sometimes destructive. All that's to say, I think the level of Minecraft that we got in this movie was what it needed to be entertaining. It kept it interesting and engaging and new because it wasn't what we've seen for the past well over a decade for Minecraft content. If you wanted something that was, say, animated, that fit better within the confines of Minecraft's gameplay and lore and was more about Minecraft, those are on YouTube, man. They're free. You don't have to pay $20 for a ticket to see that. Making it animated would have dampened the physical comedy that this movie was going for, and the physical comedy that Jared Hess, the director for this movie, and also the director for Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, is so fond of. I saw people saying that it should have been animated from the day it was announced, and I just think it deserved a little more faith in that. I think, though, that since you've already heard most of my thoughts on the movie as we watched it, the best way for me to break down the remainder of them is to talk about the characters. So let's start with Steve. Like I mentioned before, Steve was, in my opinion, ideally cast as Jack Black. Saw a lot of people hating on the cast, but I think he was great for it. He was able to bring his own very specific humor to it, and I think any other casting would have felt grueling for the type of character he was supposed to be. And besides all those exposition jokes, a good portion of the humor that we see in this movie is just Jack Black being Jack Black dialed up to 11. Brought down to a PG level, but, Steve is a character in the game, but Steve isn't really a character in the game. And I don't think it would have paid to show him as some kind of stoic hero. He was definitely the most enjoyable and memorable part of the movie, and I don't think that most of the adults who went to go see it would have cared to see it as much if it wasn't Jack Black. Notice how I use Jack Black and Steve interchangeably? Probably because they're the same character. Jack Black is almost always the same character, like Dwayne Johnson, except Jack Black is fun to watch. But I really thought that he fit well as a secondary character, even though he was meant to be the main character of the game. I think it would have been difficult to make a story about learning to embrace your creativity around a 55-year-old man. I think he's better off as the weird little guy who's important, but maybe not the character we're supposed to relate to. Now, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison was a lot better than what I expected from the trailer. I don't know what I expected fully, but just by the way that he dressed and the wig that they had him in, and the way his character acted and everything about him, I kind of expected that he would be just some kind of out-of-touch interpretation of like a streamer, or maybe something along the lines of like a Minecraft YouTuber. Don't get me wrong, some of those aspects were still there, like being an esports pro or having a criminal relationship with minors, but he was genuinely a fun character. I saw some people speculating that Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison was going to be some kind of like LGBTQ insert. And that concerned me, not because I think it's bad to have representation or an LGBTQ insert in a movie, but because his character was dressed like this and acts like this. And my fear was that his character would be used for some very off-color and disrespectful jokes. And I'm glad that it wasn't. I mean, they did have a lot of pretty queer-baity gags around the character, but it wasn't really so related to how his character looked. It wasn't what I was afraid it would be. And you know what? I should have known better than that. After all, Notch isn't involved in this movie, so... Now, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison was a ridiculously stupid character, but I really like Jason Momoa's physical comedy. I think his dynamic with the rest of the cast was great, especially Jack Black's, you know, their whole romance thing. Very touching. That scene where Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison is complaining about being broke and being alone, and Steve says, "I'm sorry about your finances." Very impactful, because while Garrett the Garbage Man may be broke, with Steve, he's not alone. Wow. Henry was a fun character, and I'm sure was really great for any kid watching to kind of place themselves in his shoes. He got to be the straight man to Jack and Jason's characters. And I think Sebastian Hansen did a really great job, especially since it's one of his first, if not his very first, main role in a movie like this. And I think something like the Tot Launcher, that scene, was great to establish him as a creative character who could make something new out of all these little bits and pieces that wasn't a weapon of terror. But quite seriously, I know that's something that I would have found really cool as a kid. Now, Dawn and Natalie had some very fun moments, and I believe that they were pretty interesting characters, but they were done a pretty big disservice by this movie, if you ask me. Like, a big enough disservice that I feel better off talking about them together instead of as their own individual characters, because they barely had the time to be their own individual characters. Like, for most of the movie, they're just kind of swept aside with their only real purpose being to meet up with the guys again. Like, that's what they're trying to do for most of the movie. And I think that's a shame, because like, they have some pretty interesting character motivation. At the very least, Natalie does. I'm actually a little confused as to why Dawn is here. Her actress, Danielle Brooks, great actress, but bringing the landlord along is kind of a crazy choice, if we're being honest. But landlord or not, she was still a character in this movie and was supposed to be a main character and was just kind of swept under the rug instead. They definitely could have been better utilized than just being reaction characters. Like, really, all they were good for was hearing some kind of wacky line and going, huh? Which, in my opinion, diminishes the joke in the first place. You don't have to hit every line with, that just happened. Like, it's okay to include women in the story. It's also okay to just work with a few characters. You gotta do one of those, though. You can't be like, okay, well, we'll have all these characters, but we don't know what to do with them, so we'll just take the two women in the story and give them some stupid side quest that doesn't matter. Like, I know the Bechdel test isn't a good metric for like what makes a good story, but I do think it's really funny to take the only two female protagonists from the movie, sideline them in their own little quest where they're the only two characters that can interact with one another, and then you still don't pass the Bechdel test. Like, yeah, you're just legitimately getting rid of them. You didn't want to deal with them. That's why you had the guys abandon them like psychopaths, not because you wanted them to be evil, but because you didn't want to work with their characters. I'm spending a lot of time on this. It's not as big of a deal as the amount of time I'm spending on it, but still. It's just like Natalie lost her mom, right? And now she has no choice but to make a home and provide for her little brother. You mean to tell me that you can't come up with any story for that besides hitting exclusively pigs? And making a pile of tater tots and calling it a breakfast pizza is not enough, so don't even try that sneak, okay? Because that is not a breakfast pizza. Okay. Let's just give it a shot, okay? Let's see how it even tastes. Let's see if she's even a good sister. Maybe her mom did make that recipe, all right? Excuse me. I decided to use a cast iron skillet to cook my meal here, but it turned out that somebody ate the tater tots that I had bought for this, so I had to transfer it to a smaller dish, and I'm not going to be able to do that over the top layer that Natalie had made in the movie, but that's okay, whatever. I also elected to put cheese on the bottom. I was gonna make like a pie filling with tomato sauce and egg, but I decided that I wanted to have this here so nothing fell through the cracks. Oh, didn't see that. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Lunches?
No, it's for my video. It was something that they acted like was a real thing in the movie, and it's not. So I'm gonna try it. Have you ever seen a breakfast pizza like this?
No.
Yes.
You have?
I've got a recipe for one.
What?
I got a breakfast pizza.
You want to see the recipe?
No. But, I mean, breakfast pizzas are real, but made out of tater tots and stuff.
Tater tots on the bottom, but egg in there. Can you put an egg in there?
Yeah.
I can show you the recipe.
No.
You've eaten it.
I have not had at least if I've had it, it hasn't been called breakfast pizza. It's just been like, oh, tater tot casserole.
Want me to show you the recipe?
No.
I added the sauce on top, and then I decided that I should probably add another layer of cheese on top to make it look a little bit more like a pizza. After all, I wasn't going to have the tater tots on top anymore like they did in the movie. Morty wouldn't leave me alone, so Morty had to say hi. For toppings, I decided to roll up some Italian sausage and just kind of, sparsely set it on top of the pizza. That kind of has the nice breakfasty taste that I was going for anyway. And finally, as I do for honestly most dishes I make, I added a healthy dose of Cajun seasoning. I preheated the oven to 425 degrees, and now I'm just waiting, I guess. It gave me some downtime, and Morty was still having trouble with the whole concept of personal space and boundaries and the idea of not touching someone with your wet nose. Stop it! Shake. Left paw. Right paw. Left paw. Right paw. Right paw. Right. Right paw. No. Right paw. No. Right paw. Kill him. And now waiting for my dish to cook. That's apparently an American staple and very common to the breakfast community. I was left with only time to think of questions like, why did I spend so much time harping on this breakfast pizza that Natalie made in her mom's memory when it turns out that it's a real thing and it's in a recipe book somewhere that I won't look at. But finally, at long last, it's done. It's done, and I'm gonna be honest, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna have to prove myself wrong with this very delectable looking breakfast pizza, apparently, that I did not make off of a recipe. I just kind of winged it, but it looks pretty good. I've never been more disappointed to make a good looking meal. This sucks. Alright, here's my breakfast pizza, my tater tot breakfast pizza. Let's go ahead and give it a try. It is pretty good. Here's my thing though. Is that, yeah, maybe it's good, and according to everyone, it is a real thing, but I will say, I couldn't even find pictures of where they, put tater tots over the top, and I don't think, the bottom had trouble cooking alone, and yeah, it was all saturated with all this, juice from the sauce and the egg, but, I don't know, that seems like too much potato. I don't think I'd even call that a pizza. I guess pizza is a pie, but it's closer to a pie, right? Because it's got the crust, or the, whatever you call it over the top. I am a fan, though. This might have to be a work staple, actually. So as far as this movie goes, I don't have a lot of other thoughts on it, except to say that I did genuinely enjoy it quite a bit. And I've talked to a couple people who really hated it. And I don't get that, because again, it's not for you. It's for kids, and it wasn't like it was a surprise kids movie. It was always a kids movie. Just like Minecraft was always for kids and has always been marketed toward kids. And that's not to say that kids' content can't be enjoyed by adults. I think it very much can be, and clearly it was just with this movie. Most of the people screaming and tearing up movie theaters were not, you know, middle school children. They were college-age frat boys, which makes it a whole lot less endearing that they were so into Chicken Jockey, but you know what? They were clearly enjoying it. A middle schooler isn't going to get their hands on a chicken to hold over their head. I just think it's about time that we realize that not everything is for us, and I think some of us are pretty good at that, you know, as we get older, but when it comes to things that used to be for us, it's a lot harder to let go of them as not for us anymore. And I follow Jack Black on Instagram, and I've just been seeing like the reaction of kids who really enjoyed this movie and really enjoyed his performance and like the joy that he's been able to give to them through his performance as Steve. And I just think that's really cool, honestly. This is really good. The thing is, I put a lot of Cajun seasoning in this. I like it. I like Cajun seasoning. I guarantee this gal did not put a lot of Cajun seasoning in it. Let me be very clear. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this was really late as far as, you know, a video about a modern event goes. I feel like every time I say a video takes a long time because I've been busy, and the same is true every time. I don't think you guys expect me to be punctual, ever. So I'm not really worried about that this time around. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I have another video coming out shortly. Not shortly. I have a video in the works that will take a while, actually, because it involves Clayton again. But hopefully that should come out soon. I'm really excited for it. And until then, subscribe. Maybe watch some of my older stuff if you're not subscribed. And if you are, I don't know, rewatch it. My Dune video is really long. I'm sure you forgot most of it anyway. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Chicken Jockey!